Let's get it.
Like half mascara on this side. Oh, you don't have your lashes.
I don't have my lashes.
So we're both little naked mole rats.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't do lashes, but I don't have my
I do. I'm gonna get LASIK done.
Nice.
That's what I want to do this year.
This year?
This year.
You need to. That's
Next
great.
month.
Life changing.
2 months.
The recovery is nothing.
I don't know what
Non-existent.
I'm waiting. Oh, I know what I was waiting for. My vision kept changing, and then I kept getting pregnant, and I had to wait for after that, and then after birth,
I kept getting pregnant.
breastfeeding, and then so now is the time.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
don't even think about it.
All right.
You want to move this?
We could put it,
it's a lot bigger than we
vertical. The couch or the
hello. Well,
hola,
hi. Welcome back. I'm Clari.
And I'm Kristi.
And this is Dear Primas. Welcome. We should also, Primas is cousin.
Oh, Primas is cousins. Yeah. That is what it's translated to.
Yeah.
Yes, let's start with that. What does Primas mean? And what language?
Yeah, so Primas is in Spanish, and the translation is just cousins. We are cousins.
And also the meaning behind that is like you tell your cousins, basically, like we grew up as sisters almost, very close, but we were cousins.
Correct.
So I feel like as a now adult, you can consider us like your primas or your cousins or just like somebody that you would feel comfortable.
It's just like another way of saying bestie, but it's like a little bit, I think a little closer in a sense, because you know how they, it's family. It's like we're family.
We are family.
We are family. We actually have a group chat with shout out Ebony named Primas, and she created the name Primas. So do you want to start off with our fave for the week?
Yeah, you go first.
No, you always use that. No, I feel like every single episode I start off talking. So it's your turn.
Okay, my favorite thing to do in the entire world is to be horizontal. Just like this, right? So the days that we don't have to rush out of bed to go to some sort of sport are my favorite because we can be horizontal a little bit longer. And this Sunday, the boys, like, they know I love to cuddle. That's our thing. Like, before they go to bed, we cuddle. Well, they came downstairs. They woke up really early, first off, and I was not ready to get out. Bella was still sleeping. So I came downstairs, and I was like, look, let's watch a show. We were introduced to Bluey back in Galveston. Somebody that came watched Bluey, and we hadn't watched it. The boys are not into it. But the last episode, it's called For Sale. Tell me why I was bawling.
So sad. Because it's about dogs, right? Or what are they? Or
the show is about, I guess they're dogs.
Are they dogs?
Actually.
I think they're dogs.
I think they're dogs, but they don't walk on 4 legs. They walk on 2.
Well,
it was the cutest episode I've ever seen. And not that we are selling our house anytime soon, but it was it was so cute. And the boys were even like, are you crying happy tears? I'm crying happy tears. And I was like, me too.
That's so sweet.
It was the cutest thing. Yeah. But I feel like they're starting to understand shows and like seeing them have emotions when we're watching something is like my favorite thing.
I know, that's exciting to look forward to for sure, because it takes a little while for them to comprehend. Like they kind of see and they hear what's happening, but to make the connections, that's cute.
Yeah, it was a cute show. So if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. It's the last
Shout
episode.
out Bluey.
Yeah,
just the last episode.
It was I don't know why we clicked on it because we're not even past that. Like on the farthest, but it was the For Sale is what it's called on Bluey, season 3.
Okay,
cute.
Nice.
What was your fave for the week?
My fave for the week was this podcast. I think. I mean, we had been talking about it for a little while.
Officially out of the group chat.
Yeah, officially, and I think we've had fun recording. It's been like something to look forward to. We are really having a good time while recording, and it's just been fun. And we've knocked out a few episodes, and so that's my fave for the week. And honestly, I think taking it a step further is like launching it and then getting the feedback.
I agree.
Like seeing how we were talking about after we released it, and this is a little bit after, maybe. People sharing it and showing that they're listening or messaging us.
Like, you have no idea. I feel like that just, I don't know. Like are not the most like what's the word I'm trying to say? Like I feel like I'm pretty boring as a person.
Yeah, we're not filled with juiciness. I think our stories are very similar. Like, yeah. I don't know what we're trying to say.
I don't know what I'm trying to say either, but the fact that somebody takes the time out of their day to listen to something that we said, like, hey, we want to do something that makes us passionate or that we're passionate about, and that we are like, all right, we're doing it, and they're
receiving it.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, even just, I think the first steps, of course, is like the bringing in our potential followers, on Instagram, and then taking it that step further, like watching our reels. I feel like people are enjoying that, but then taking it a step further and actually listening or watching the show.
Yes.
And honestly, we're kind of just doing this for fun and because we wanted to do it. Like I said, it's exciting and we're having a really good time doing it. It's something new. Where it goes is something else. But for now, I think, we're just keeping it simple.
We're riding the wave.
Yeah. And we're just having fun. And I think regardless of how it ends up being received in the end, like we're going to continue to do it. I feel like because I'm really enjoying it. And
Me too.
That's my fave for the week.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Oh, don't forget, follow us on Instagram if you're not already.
Yeah. We'll put
and me too.
Right here. Which I can do that now. I figured that. No, that one's easy. That's writing. But yeah, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok. It's all kind of. I mean, TikTok and Instagram is one for one. We'll try to mix it up a little bit, but follow us.
Yeah,
and subscribe.
Thanks for being here.
Like and subscribe.
Have you always wanted to say that?
Yeah.
It felt very natural to do, so.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yes. Gracias.
And so.
Do we want to check to make sure?
Oh, yeah, we should.
Cut. Okay.
So we've been, after releasing and recording a couple of episodes, we decided that we want to try something fun. And we came up with, we're going to do something called silent karaoke. And so pretty much I think we're going to take turns each episode and we're going to hum a tune. And then we're going to let the audience or whoever's listening and watching guess.
Yeah.
Are we going to guess? Or are we going to
I say we guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to call it silent karaoke. It's just literally humming. We need to look into more of the copyright issue to see if we're going to get it.
All right, so you go first this week.
Yay. Okay. Oh, this is going to be hard. Okay. I got to close my eyes. I'm just okay. Was that too easy? Shout out because she just announced she's pregnant.
I did see that.
Yeah, with Nelly.
Wow,
my boyfriend.
Come true.
I know.
What's it? They get together? Like, what was that I just saw videos of them after? Was it the Super Bowl that they were together?
Probably.
Or was it like a show?
I think before that too.
I saw them at an Usher show.
And they've done. I don't know if they were on tour, if they were just doing like little mini shows at like little clubs, like House of Blues type things.
That's really cute.
But yeah, I love both of them. They should have been together for like ever, but maybe it's better, later in life. But yeah, they're engaged and they're expecting, and so in honor of Ashanti.
Cute.
Yeah.
Good song. Well,
that was fun. I didn't have to go too long.
I should have let it play out. Do another one. One. I should let you
we'll add a pause so that maybe y'all can guess or something.
Dang it. Yeah. Next time I'll hold off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one thing that I feel like we're pretty passionate about, maybe more so me, but reading.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that maybe we can talk about a little bit of a book talk.
Yeah.
Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about maybe like our top 3 favorite books.
For sure. Or maybe just 3 favorites, because I know to say top is it's like
agree.
For me, it might be easier because I haven't read as much. I used to I grew up loving reading, and then I fell off hard. And I do enjoy it, and I'm back on it. But you're very consistent with it.
Well, I think this explains my show slump, because when I'm in a show slump, I tend to find a book and then not be so in the research phase of my show.
That makes sense.
What I want to do. So then I'm like in a book. And I feel like we always find our show or watch our shows at the end of the night. So whenever I'm able to, that's whenever I read. So we could say top 3, or the 3 that you would recommend
for sure
to anyone. What's your first?
My first. So I'm going to take it in kind of like a chronological order, and like when I was first got back into reading, and you actually let me borrow this book, Gone Girl. That book is so good. Like, I wish even if you have seen the movie, I think if you read the book, and they always say the book is better than the movie, and in most cases that is so. Sometimes they do a good job, and I think the movie did a decent job, but the actual book itself was just it was a page turner. I remember it being super thick. I don't remember how many pages, but
that was
ran through it quick. And so that's like my number one.
And I feel like they go into so much detail, obviously, because this is a movie as well, but in the book it was just like so much more detail because you're seeing it and hearing it or reading it from her perspective, right?
Yes.
Whereas in the movie it doesn't get into that in part 2 or something.
Yeah, it takes a little longer. I think that they do go back and forth in the book.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like part 1 and then part 2, something. I can't remember the way it's actually written, but it is. I mean, I feel like if you are having you want to get into reading, that is a great book to start, because it's not like it's not too filled with like what you have to remember or too many connections, too many storylines, and it's just, it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's my number one.
That's a good start. My first one that I would recommend, it is a long one, but I promise it is worth the length.
Okay.
It's a historical fiction, which I would never,
I know,
never. But this one was, so it's 1939. You're in France, and your sisters. And one sister she's got the family, and she is like the do-gooder. The other one is the rebel of the family. And it's about them going through war. So at this time in France, the Nazis are invading France. And the older sister has to decide, like, she's in survival mode, and she ends up letting an enemy sleep in her house. Or one of the Nazis have to sleep in her house because she's like, or it's going to be it. So then the sister decides to be part of the resistance. And I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's different. I feel like that time period is just so interesting, like in history, that I mean, whatever you're reading about it, I feel like captivates you. Movies, there's so many movies made about it, and it's just, it pulls at your heartstrings. It gets you like super involved. And okay, what is it called?
Oh yeah, the title, Nightingale.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you said it or not.
Nightingale by Kristi Hannah. Yeah,
nice,
super good.
We'll put a picture. Actually, we can. We'll put a little. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
If you're watching,
you
can see it.
Okay. Second one.
My second one, I will say The Last Mrs. Parrish. That was such a good one.
That was a good one.
Just about like a girl who kind of infiltrates this marriage because she sees the man as like super successful, and but how she goes about it is a big storyline, and it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I can explain it without giving everything away.
Yeah.
And I think it was also very similar in, I think I have a certain writing style that I like. Because this one is from different perspectives.
Yes.
And now thinking back, when we first start reading the book, you're not sure who is narrating the book. Yes. And I love that so much because, and those are the things you have to think about, I think, when you're reading. Because if you don't, you're kind of just like, if you're just reading the words and not really thinking further than that, it's not as enjoyable.
Yes.
And so thinking like, who the heck is, is talking right now? I know that this is happening.
Yeah.
But and then once it reveals like who was talking and then like and that was one person's perspective, then it switches to the other person's perspective.
That's a really good writing style.
And it goes back to like, so the second person's perspective, what they're thinking while the first person was going through what they're going through. Love. Oh yeah. I think honestly the writing style of that book really made it top tier for me, because the ending, I mean, there was a resolution, which we'll come back to in a little bit, but it could have been a little stronger, but I would still 100% recommend that book. Yeah,
I'm going to piggyback off that one, because my next favorite that I would recommend is The Housemaid. Did you read that one?
I didn't.
Okay, that one's a really good one. That one also, too, is like switches gears and whose point of view it's from and that you're reading it. But it's just very, like the start of it, the housemaid comes from, you don't know where she's coming from. Okay. Like something is telling you that she might have been in prison. We don't know.
Very mysterious.
Okay. Millie is her name, the housemaid. But she lives with this family, or she comes in, she's actually going to be the maid of this family, and this family seems very put together. The lady does, and then stuff hits the fan.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. So yeah, that one gave me a lot of Last Parish, the
Last Mrs. Parrish.
The Last Mrs. Parrish vibes. Very much so.
My third one is Local Woman Missing. That was a pretty good page turner as well. And it's short. Like, it's not very long. It's easy to get through. It's just this woman who just literally just goes missing. Yeah. And so there are a couple of storylines in this book. There's like a girl who had gone missing a long time ago. There's a woman that randomly went missing. And then there's someone who is currently being abducted and is being held captive in this basement. And then there's like this character that's also in there with her in this basement. And the whole time you're thinking, is this person real? Is this other person not? Is it like a fiction of her imagination? And then it talks about like that storyline of, you know, who that person is captive. And then that's so wild. I don't even know how to explain what happens without giving it all away. And then the woman that currently goes missing, all signs point to husband, but you know, you're also not sure, and it's like a big deal on other suspects that could potentially be the ones who, you know, took this person, and it's a whirlwind for sure. So I could not remember all the details throughout this episode, so I did add this little voiceover to kind of help encourage y'all to read this, because it actually is so much better than I remember once I look back at the actual book.
Yeah. A very whodunit type of book. That was a very good one. I think I didn't like that ending, so I don't know that I like rated it high, but I remember feeling like the ending could have been a little bit better if I'm thinking of the right one. My last one would be Kristen Hanna. So I think I gravitate toward an author, which I could have pulled a Colleen Hoover in that, but I think now that I'm starting to figure out what my reading style is, I really like psychological thrillers, or I like some of the mushy gushy, sometimes the romance, and some of Colleen Hoover's are like that, but I really liked this Kristen Hanna book, The Great Alone. This was like a family and it's back in 70s maybe, and they go to Alaska and are just kind of making it like they're trying to survive the winter out there, and it was so good. But then the girl, of course, meets somebody, and then they go into it was such a good book, and I actually loved that ending. Okay. That ending couldn't have been any better, I think, with any Kristen Hanna book, but we'll see. TBD.
I definitely do like more mysterious than rom-com, rom-com, but romance novels.
I'm not. You know what? I'd be open to finding one. I think if it's too like cheesy,
correct.
I kind of like.
Yeah, not too cheesy, and I don't need the 50 Shades of Grey. I don't need that. Adrian always makes fun. He's like, "Are you reading one of your erotic novels?" I'm like, I've never even read any erotic novel.
I have done the 50 Shades, for sure.
No, I've never.
50 Shades of Grey trade.
I didn't, and it's like his little joke that he pokes at me when I'm reading. He's
That's funny because Sean always says that too, but I actually did read them. And
really? Yeah. I don't know. It's just a little joke he says. I'm like, dude, no, I like reading about murders and mystery and all the things that they say you're probably a psychopath if it relaxes you or whatever.
Ready if I need to be called in to be some sort of
investigator,
I've got.
They say that the FBI looks for ex-teachers, like that's high on their list to work for them. Yeah. Shout out Ashton. Probably doesn't listen, but Ashton, he was telling me his fiance's like dad or something was either in the FBI or something with one of the agencies, but that like he told him like specifically they do seek out teachers that want to make a career change. Because if you think about it, we work with so many like little people a day, like so many different personalities. You get to know like and read people, students, everybody really, really well. Makes sense.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've always really wanted to be in homicide, some sort of detective.
Yeah, I think I'd like putting together the pieces. Yes. I don't want to see all the gory stuff.
Can we put a blurry thing over it?
Yeah. But I think I am pretty good at, I would like to think.
Yeah.
Being a little investigator.
I like it.
Most women are, though, but, for other reasons.
What about books that have become movies?
Books that have become movies. Well, I started off with one, Gone Girl. Books are movies are shows, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so the last, or our first episode that we ended up releasing, I talked about how I was starting to read The Perfect Couple by Elin Hilderbrand.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was Googling like a picture to insert into the video, I actually pulled up that they're making a Netflix show about it. And I think it's supposed to come out this year.
What is it called?
The Perfect Couple.
Okay.
Elin Hilderbrand. But yeah, I was like, wow, what are the chances? Yeah. Like, this book I'm sure has been out for like ever. And
I've heard good things about that author.
Yeah. And so my sister-in-law, she listened to our episode and she says she loves that author, and she's reading it's a series,
the
like
Winter Street series.
It's like on the third book, and she highly recommends it.
Okay.
And we also had Amy. I'm sorry, Amy, I forgot your new married name, but we went to school together. But she recommended an app that, because she said she heard how you like Audible, but it's like a book. I mean, it's an app that you can use like a library card with.
Ooh.
Oh, I wish I was supposed to look at it. No, it's like Oogla. I don't know. It's something. It's a strange name, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Hoopla, Hoopla. I was supposed to look at it right before this.
I love that.
And she also sent me a link that you can like apply for a library card like online. But it's anyway, you can listen to these books, and I think you can also like e-read them for free. Because it's like through the library type of thing.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I do want to say, maybe in a different direction, but same direction, a library card. We went to the library for the first time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Maybe during Christmas break with the boys. They loved it. And I feel like I told myself after we left, I was like, I don't know why we don't do this more often. One, because I'm scared that we're going to not return the book. We have enough books in our house. But I think it was something different about walking in a library and then being able to like, okay, you make sure that other than being in the school, because the school, he does bring home 2 library books. But I told myself in the summertime, we're going to make it a point to go to the library and at least get a book or 2 and then them come home and we read it. But I really want them to be like, not adamant readers, but enjoy reading.
Yeah, because I think that's where I lost my spark, was in school, especially once you get to high school, middle school a little bit, but you stop that you can't read what you want to read anymore because they're assigning you books.
Yes.
And then it's like, then you get to college, at least this was my case. There was so many, so much studying, so much reading textbooks and reading articles and this and that I didn't even have the energy to read for leisure.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's where like I kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And I was just like brain dead. I was like, I don't want, anything.
Yeah.
And so Gone Girl, that was like the first book I read as an adult after college, and loved it. And every time I get into a book, I love it.
Yeah. But I think it takes getting into that one book. I think Colleen Hoover also was a really good author.
A gateway
to a lot of people. And I think that's why I got the hype on TikTok. Colleen Hoover did, at least, was those books are very easy. Like, they're page turners too, and very easy to get into. So if you are in a book slump, that would be a good starting point
For
too.
sure.
One of her books.
Yeah, and don't let, because I know there's so many people like, oh, you read Colleen Hoover, like, but for books, like, even though they're not like top tier, they're still fun reads, easy reads.
The storyline is still good. Like I feel like there was a climax, and then there was a
like I haven't read many, but I read I guess we can't get into all that, but
which one?
Like It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's a book. Actually, I guess we could kind of talk about it because which one are they making a movie about? It Starts With Us, right?
It Ends With Us, I thought.
It Ends With Us.
Because the first one was It Ends With Us, and then she came out with It Starts With Us, which was.
But they're making it about the first one.
Yes, they're making it about the first one. Yeah.
Well, that's a book.
That's going to be a movie.
That's going to be a movie.
I will be rereading that because I don't remember. I just remember there being a Lily, and I do want to open up a bookstore I wanted to open up a bookstore because of that book. I thought that was so cute. A bookstore. Imagine this: a bookstore that has like flowers. I feel like I saw this on TikTok, or maybe it was like one of the ones that they would have like a mood board of what they think the movie would be like, and then they're like, oh my god, it's whatever. But like a bookstore that has flowers, which I think she has this in the book.
Well, it's not a bookstore; it's a flower store.
Oh,
but you want to mix the two. Oh, yes, so that's okay.
Yes.
So like a place where you can go buy a book or read a book, and then also buy a flower arrangement. Fun.
Wouldn't that be so
have
cute?
Some coffee.
Have some cafecito. Have some Alanis.
Beverages.
Yes.
All the things.
All the things.
Little
topos. Yeah. Whatever you want. Whatever
Margs.
Your thirst.
Wine.
Different license.
No,
but
that would be fun.
I think that'd be so cute.
Actually, well, that's a whole nother thing. What? Getting into like establishments that it's like BYOB. That's a loophole, isn't it? Like, because you don't need your TBAC license or whatever. I think that's like the thing. I'm not sure if you're a business owner and you know how that works, but there's a lot of little restaurants, like little mom and pop shops that they just charge like a cork fee to open your wine, but it is a loophole because it's a license that you don't need.
Yeah. I think, that's something.
And I think that's like, I love that.
I do too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We love a good restaurant that we can bring our wine or,
That can also, you can let the kids loose.
We should just do it. I guess the last book, or do you have another? Oh, we have two more, I guess, books that became movies or shows. So we both read Sharp Objects. Did you read it? You read it? Or you just watched the show?
I think I just watched the show.
Wow, we're opposites on that thing then. So I read the book. The book was pretty good. It was also like a little mysterious.
It's the same author as Gone Girl, right?
Possibly.
I think so.
Flynn something?
Yep.
Yeah, or Glenn Flynn. I'm terrible with author names now that I'm thinking about it. But the book was really good. It was like this little small town where little girls were just going missing. And the main journalist, she's like a journalist. She grew up in that small town, but she like left right away, and she lived, I think, in Chicago. And she goes back to report on it because her little small town, or her little small newspaper, I guess, needed something like juicy, something to bring them up. And so that was her story. And she went back, and she's just getting like all these remembrance of like being there and how like messed up a lot of things that she experienced was. And so she had to report on it, and the ending ended up being super wild.
I don't think about it. I don't think I finished the show.
I think the show could have been so much better. They missed out, I think, a lot of important little details that made certain connections. But I mean, it did kind of bring it to life. They did do good with like the characters that they chose, or the actors that they chose, and like portraying them in the sense that the book shed light on them. But the book, I think, was better than the show. And the show, I think, was on HBO. Yeah, it was like a mini series. And then your book you read?
Oh, the Marsh Girl?
Yeah. Where the
Crowd Dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the book was good. It did take a while to get into. And I think I was also I was in my feels whenever I went to go watch that movie very much. And I'm not, considering how I started the episodes, how I said I was bawling and bluey. I'm normally not a crier, but I think whenever it comes to like seeing things happen to kids and or being like seeing how my kids react, it gets me. It gets those little.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because you grew up, it was rough.
Yeah. So I think that's whenever I was like starting to cry in the movie, and I like seeing that come to life from the book. But the book was, I thought it was good.
I think I really liked the movie.
Start,
I didn't read the book. I didn't read the book, but I did watch the movie. So maybe I wonder if that's like a difference.
I think everybody that I recommended the book to say that it's hard to the dialect at the beginning and like piecing together how because she's not able to speak very well because she wasn't like brought up. So it was hard for her or people to read that.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's why it was hard to get into, but
maybe. But I love that movie, and I wonder if my parents even watched it. Yeah, I wonder if you don't read a book, but you watch the show or the movie, if you're like your opinion's different. You know how we think
when you go into the book to read it. Oh, that's a good.
Yeah,
I think so. Oh, what about Harry Potter? Did you ever read Harry Potter's?
I never read them all. I read like maybe one or two of the books. Maybe
it was required.
First one for sure.
Classes.
But I don't know about the second. But I love Harry Potter.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, me and Adrian, we watched all the series, all the movies, I think, like again together.
I have a friend that she reads them now to her kiddos, and they'll go and watch the movie as they're reading it. I think that's so cute. Yeah. So like maybe if John John's into it, maybe that'll be my first time.
I mean, the movies are just so fun to me. It's like this whole different world that, as a kid, you know, you hear like wizards and witches and this, and I think I don't know if any other movie will ever top like just the, what is the word, imagination, like bringing it to life. I think it was like, the movies are great. Yeah, maybe. And the first one is great. The first movie's like,
I remember the first one being good.
And I think there's like maybe a few that they kind of fell off, and it gets a little scary for like the boys, like right now.
I remember like the
Voldemort, he who shall not be named. Yeah, but they're getting close to the age where they might enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, we even let them watch a couple of things questionable.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder. So okay, so if you've watched Sharp Objects, like if you just happened to watch that HBO show but you didn't read the book, did you enjoy the show? Gone Girl.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I think a lot of people watched that movie. I love that one. I loved though. Yeah. I liked the movie as well. The book was way better, but I did like that.
Think of one that we did not name, because I'm sure there's more, and I feel like there's some that are on the tip of my tongue, but they're not coming to mind. That if you recommend some too,
that we can either read it, watch it,
binge.
Yes.
Yeah. All down for a horizontal binge.
Yeah, and I think there's some that are like the obvious, like the Titanic and things like that, but some that are a little more niche or like not as, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of shows and movies out there that I'm not aware of that were books.
Yes.
And my sister-in-law, Adi, she's really good. I mean, she's an actress, and so she does her plays and everything, so she's really involved in like all things, I think. Yeah, and so she'll like, oh yeah, that was a book. Oh yeah, that was a book. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot out there. So if you know, for sure, let us know. And I think it's a good theory to see if you watched but you didn't read, if you have different opinions.
I like that. I think we want to wrap it up, but before we do, I think we both want to say how excited but especially thankful for friends.
Yeah.
Primas. Now Primas. All in all, thank you for listening to Dear Primas.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing that you're doing that. We love it so much. Yes. We love seeing it. We love seeing the love. And I think there's so much more to come, and we're trying our best to see how we can bring you guys in with us, to get y'all more involved in the process, because we want to talk about things that you guys are interested in as well. We don't just want to talk about stuff that interests us all the time. But this was actually a little request. Who requested?
Charity had mentioned how she could listen to us talk about books, and I think that a lot of people right now are also in the same boat of wanting to either hear book recommendations or listen to books, read books. So
yeah. And it is something that I think if you are struggling to get into, just give it a chance and, try. And I think also the pressure, because I feel like you fly through books, and sometimes I'm like, dang, like I can fly through it, but then life happens,
Yes.
But right now, like the book that I started, I'm just reading it at night, and it makes me so sleepy, which I love because I have the hardest time falling asleep. And that's okay. Like if you have to fall asleep and then reread what you read, but you just kind of make it into like your little, I swear I've probably been reading for like 5 minutes these last couple. There are times where I'm like, oh man, I got to keep going. But now it like soothes me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let it put me to sleep. And not that it's boring. It's just like, because they say the worst thing to do is be on your phone like right before bed.
I agree.
And I am terrible at that. And I have the hardest time falling asleep because of it. And I know it. So now I'm like, okay, phone goes away. Let me bring out my book. I finally got a little book light for Christmas.
Wind down.
Yeah. And it just really helps all aspects, I think. So just give it a chance and don't be hard on yourself. It takes you forever to finish a book. That's where I was going to get to.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. And we'll talk soon. Primas.
Bye, Primas.